Niliwaambia guys, mkafikiria nawapatia rumors. Now, ndio imefanyika sasa. Kitu ya kwanza niliwaambia Rigathi Gachagua si eti kwamba anachukia Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Kumbe Rigathi Gachagua anachukia Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I can tell you. You are going to be shocked. And that's why mouthpiece ya Rigathi Gachagua ni Senator Nyutu. Na ukiona Nyutu amezungumza, juu amekimbia pale TV47, anazungumza pale. Na hii swali huyu jamaa anajaribu kuulizwa, anajaribu kuendaenda hivi. Anajaribu kukosa kuijibu. And you are going to be shocked. You see guys, wakati Rigathi Gachagua alikuwa deputy president wa William Ruto, kabla aweze kuwa impeached, usisahau walijaribu kutumia guns kuattack lile shamba la Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Na hii ilikuwa ni trap ya William Ruto kutumia Rigathi Gachagua, ili wakati ambapo William Ruto atakuwa anataka impeaching Rigathi Gachagua, Uhuru Kenyatta sijaribu kuiblock, na Raila Odinga sijaribu kuiblock, na ikafanyika. Baada ya Rigathi Gachagua kutumia guns kwa shamba la Uhuru Kenyatta kuiba mbuzi na kondoo, basi ugomvi ukaanzia hapo. Now Rigathi Gachagua up to now anajua tu Uhuru Kenyatta hajaweza kumsamehe. So now kama Fred Matiang'i anaenda kutumia Jubelee party, then Uhuru Kenyatta is going to remain the kingpin of Mount Kenya. Acha niwaambie, hiyo ndio kitu Rigathi Gachagua anaogopa kabisa, kupeana hii mamlaka kwa Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta again. You are going to be shocked. And show me like video, na nasema thanks for your great support. Nyinyi ni watu wa nguvu zaidi. You see guys, Senator Nyutu amekuwa TV47. Na ukisikiza vizuri, this man anajaribu kuhepa hilo swali. He wants Fred Matiang'i to use his own party, ama atumie any party but not Jubilee party. No. So it means kuna vita kati ya Rigathi Gachagua and Uhuru Kenyatta. Wanang'ang'ania kuwa kingpins wa Mount Kenya.
Say that I want to make it very clear that there is no rift between Uhuru and Rigathi Gachagua. That is a creation of the media. There is no, Uhuru and Gachagua are each building their own parties. Jubilee is Uhuru'S party. Gachagua has DCP. And so I don't know where this story is coming from, that the two are fighting. Yes, it's true that there are concerns. And I think the concerns are about Fred Matiang'i. Fred Matiang'i, who does not want to form his own party, wants to ride on Jubilee party. And
what is the concern with that?
No, the concern is Jubilee party is associated with Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, all right? Mm-hmm. Jubilee party, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta comes from Mount Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua comes from Mount Kenya, all right? If Matiang'i wants to win or wants to join the united opposition in winning against William Ruto, then of course, can I give you a situation that anyway you would want to look at? Can you imagine in Luo Nyanza, for example, Raila Odinga has always worked with Kalonzo Musyoka, right? Can you imagine Raila Odinga and working with Kalonzo Musyoka, but Kalonzo Musyoka, assuming he had no wiper, goes to Luo Nyanza, gets a party associated with somebody else in Luo Nyanza and decides to make that his party. What does that mean? That means, no, just a minute. That means, Matiang'i comes from, and it's unfortunate that we have to, get region on this, but Matiang'i comes from the Kisii region.
But if we were to go that way, Jubilee party does not really have most of its elected members from Mount Kenya region. Most of the elected members through Jubilee are actually from northeastern Kenya. We can't really say Jubilee is a big party in Mount
Yes, that's why I started by saying that it is associated. It's Uhuru Kenyatta's party. As we speak now. I mean, but you know why it has many members elected from the northeastern region is because it was the ruling party then. I think I would want to see in 2027, now that Uhuru is not a president, how many members will be elected on Jubilee and from other regions. You know? So we must not, you know, we should not close our eyes to realities of politics in our country. That our politics is largely ethnic. I mean, most of the parties that we have in this region, in this country, unless we want to close our eyes to facts, are ethnic based. And what I mean by that is the party leader. For example, the greatest support of ODM is in Luo Nyanza because Raila Amolo Odinga, the party leader, comes from Luo Nyanza. If, just a minute, Fred, if you go to if you talk about Fort Kenya is a party for Bungoma and the environs because of Moses Wetangula, who is the party leader. And that is true. Pa of Amason Kingi has members from the coast and basically around Kilifi because Amason Kingi comes from there. I mean, Wiper Party has its strongest support in Ukambani region because Kalonzo Musyoka comes from Ukambani region. Unless now we want to close our eyes to that, that is the fact that parties mostly are associated with the party leaders.
Senator, you seem to agree with the headlines then. You started off by saying that this is a creation of the media. Yet listening to you, you seem to agree that this is about who is the kingpin of Mount Kenya region, because which is the biggest party? Which party leader we follow?
No.
And this is between Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua.
No.
And that's a question being asked by the media.
But I've told you, I mean, I know you record whatever we say here. I said there is no war between Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua.
No
and I'm
war.
on record. I'm on record. But I said there is a problem with Matiangi, who wants to jump on a party. You know? He is a presidential candidate, right? But he does not want to form a party. I mean, and while I was giving you an analysis of the party leaders and their greatest support, I was giving you that example so that, I mean, Fred Matiangi should also have come up with a party that basically, if then what I have said is anything to go by, that basically then would have a support first from the Kisii region. I mean, the two Kisii counties, Nyamira and Gusii. I mean, but Fred, that is what I've given you an analysis of ODM, of Wiper, of PA, of, Fort Kenya.
Because I'm trying to get the difference here.
Yes.
On one hand, you say it is not about Uhuru Kenyatta. Yes, it's about Fred Matiangi.
Yes.
But now your concern is about the influence that Uhuru Kenyatta will have through Jubilee that could benefit Matiangi. So aren't you, in the end, saying that, yes, it's about Uhuru Kenyatta and the influence he has over the Mount Kenya region?
No. I said there is no war between Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua. This is that time I'm saying that. But I have said there is a problem with Matiangi. And I gave you an example, Fred.
Okay.
If today, somebody wanted to work with Kalonzo Musyoka, for example, say Rigathi Gachagua wanted to work with Kalonzo Musyoka, and I know they are working together. But Rigathi Gachagua does not form his own party. He wants to go to Ukambani, all right, and take Gilu's party. What do you call it? Takes Gilu's party.
NAC, yeah.
NAC. And decides to run on NAC, knowing very well that Kenyan politics being what it is. Knowing very well that NAC will have most of the support will come from the Ukambani region. Rigathi Gachagua, and I'm just giving an example, does not want to use to build his own, start his own party, build his own party, consolidate his region, because there are ethnic blocks in this country. Unless we want to just be, theoretical. You know, he wants to use a party that has a following in Ukambani. This particular person cannot have any other interest other than kuvuruga ama kukoroga the Ukambani region.
Okay.
Because if you ask, what following do we have? What following does Jubilee have in Kisii region, for example? So I am not contradicting myself. I'm saying Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua are not in any fight. And Matiangi and Rigathi Gachagua are not in any fight either. But there
was a member
are
of Jubelee as well.
questions. There are questions some of us are asking ourselves. And when I speak, I'm not the official spokesperson of DCP. And my sentiments here are just personal.
Okay.
As junior to.
And you look
about
like
the behavior.
You're very excited to contribute to this particular debate.
And a member of parliament, Kiplangat, akajaribu slamming Senator Nyutu in the same interview. Na huyo pia lazima tumchunguze. Is either William Ruto amemtumanisha ama Uhuru Kenyatta is behind it. Skiza.
I now believe we shall defeat them when we at the opening of the polling station at 6 a.m. Because if this is the mind and the strategy that is going on in that room of united opposition, you and me will agree they have all. They are in another generation. Maybe we are in the 21st century. I think they are in 19th century. Because listening to him subdivide Kenyans into regions and tell us this one you belong to this region. Now you need to form your own party in that region. This one you belong to this region. You regionalize and try to build apartments of regions to be a united opposition. That house will crumble. We have a united nation called Kenya. And when we are electing, may I even leave the other seats, when we are electing the president, we are electing the president as a unifying factor who will bring unity in Kenya and create that fabric called Kenya. So, but if you have people sitting somewhere called opposition leaders trying to unite themselves, but their mindset is so narrow and their thinking is so narrow that they think about Kenya into regions. And then they believe now they can run, like you have a king in every region, then those kings can appoint one kingdom. And let us not try to create it's also called the Bokanda kingdom in every party. When it is being registered by the politicals, by registrar of political parties, it is able to look for support base throughout the Republic of Kenya. It is not registered like DCP is registered as a Mount Kenya party. That you register Wiper as a Ukambani. Now they want to force Matiangi go and register the Kisii party. Even what is technically saying is that they are so mad on Matiangi that he has not registered a Kisii party, so that he goes to that united opposition as a Kisii party. And maybe just to broaden your mind a bit, because I can see, depending on where you have zeroed in your configuration of the mind, you tend to think that everything should be regionalized. Even the current Kenya Kwanza is composed of Fort Kenya and ANC. And there is Mudavadi and our speaker. They are both in our coalition. And they both come from the same region of Western. Now, did you hear Speaker Wetangula telling Mudavadi, why are you coming here and you have your own party called ANC? Those are archaic and old age reasoning that don't bring unity of purpose in this country. And so that kind of politicians should be condemned and not allowed to germinate in this country. Okay. So I'm very happy. In fact, I'm the happiest person today because listening to Nyutu, and I know where Nyutu stands, he is in the kitchen. And if that is the kitchen, what they are discussing, I think President William Ruto will defeat them at 6 a.m.
Senator, it will be very difficult to actually
may I finish?
Get yourself free from these accusations that you're simply engaging in regional politics.
Yes. May I finish? May I finish? I think he got a lot of time. You see, Jubelee belongs to, the party leader is Uhuru Kenyatta. They have all the right to nominate their own flag bearer. If they have decided their flag bearer is Matiangi, why are they so mad See, they go and now, like their candidate, and I believe if Wamunyoro does not turn, he will bring a lot of divisions in this opposition. But which is good anyway. You don't teach somebody when he's falling, you don't try to assist him. But I believe even regarding Gachagua with this DCP, they know very well constitutionally it will be very hard for them to be able to run for the presidency.
Right.
So they also may I finish?
No.
They also have a
okay. Let's give an opportunity also.
They also have a candidate in the United. May I finish? They also have and the United Opposition candidate. They also have a candidate who is Kalonzo Musyoka. So what is wrong with Rigiji coming with Kalonzo and Uhuru Kenyatta coming with Matiangi? The Public Accounts Committee, having invested in a system which we all agree it's most perfect, because once you have a system whereby you can authenticate through biometric means, then it means at least you know the voter actually appeared and he voted. As to the influence in the voting, all depends also on the candidates and their agents. So this system costs, the initial input cost on the system is presumed to be high. But after you have acquired the system, I don't know what else becomes expensive. Maybe we might need, because looking at it critically on the information that I'm privy of, if you look at even the pending bill of IEBC, out of a pending bill of around 18 billion, you will get like 15 billion are legal fees. Mm-hmm. So, and that's a pending bill. If you look at the total budget of IEBC, quite a chunk, maybe up to around 50%, will go to the legal fees. So, if we can address that component alone on legal fees, it will really cut down on the cost of the elections. And I have not known why we have all these, because you will also look at the charges, the cost that the lawyers give to IEBC. They are crazy. You will sometimes get somebody billing around 500 million.
But look at this process, for example, voter registration. Yeah. 9.6 billion shillings to register about 6.3 million voters in total, which comes down to about more than 1,500 shillings.
That's why,
to register one person.
That's why it's upon the Legal and Justice Departmental Committee to be able to look at that budget and scrutinize so that they can tell us which is this costly thing that is so costly to do. Because I believe the systems are there in terms of the only thing that you require is the human expenditure, that is the clerks and people who are registering. Mm-hmm. So the figure alone is huge. So what now remains is for the respective oversight committee to be able to look at now critically, why should we be able to spend you said 61 billion in this financial year to do an election. I think we have quite a number of areas that Kenyans will want their money to be spent on. Mm-hmm. So let us try to create a lean, transparent, and accountable elections without necessarily, you know what happens in Kenya. People create fear. And
that's the issue.
When
there's money enough to sort out that.
When they create fear, now they ask for everything. When somebody has threatened that I'm going to kill you, you will do everything. So I think let us, without putting emotions and fear into this election, let us look critically as to what is actually the cost-effective value to be able to do elections. And then this idea of replacing, I don't know whether they replace systems every 5 years. I think we need to get a bit.
But the question is throwing money at the problem.
But maybe as I finish, there are two components that if we address, it's going to solve the cost: the issue of the legal fees and the issue of the system.
All right, because it's a trust issue. The ballot paper in Kenya has more than 11 security features. And the insistence is that it cannot be even printed in Kenya. It has more security features than even the Kenyan currency that at one point was being printed in Kenya. Definitely it's about trust. Is throwing money at it the best solution? That the more money we spend, the more trust Kenyans will gain in the electoral process? Senator.
Fred, this expenditure is just too high. And regardless of the fact that we need a free and fair election, and we need those security features in ballot papers and the whole system, as it were, we still need to interrogate the expenditure items. Like my friend and colleague DK is saying, I mean, this does not concern just IEBC, legal fees, because this is the monster even in counties. I mean, organizations are losing a lot of money through legal fees. And what all of us need to ask ourselves and all these organizations is, why do they have legal departments? I mean, why do we still keep securing legal services? I mean, outsourcing legal services when we have legal departments? Why would IEBC not establish a good legal department, have lawyers who draw a monthly salary and who represents IEBC in any legal matter? Because, you know, the figures that you'll see in legal fees, and like I tell you, even in counties, are obscene figures. You know, hundreds of millions. And then you are left wondering, I mean, why would any particular organization pay that kind of money when they can afford? There are so many lawyers who would be ready to work for a salary. So I think legal fees need to be interrogated, especially with IEBC. The system again, and I do not want to be to engage in plagiarism, but the systems again. Once we establish a system, we should only be able maybe to improve on it, subsequently. We should not keep getting new systems. And you know, we must look at it wholesomely. You know, we have had a very big issue also with the new system, with SHA. I mean, why we have to do away with this tradition or this culture of we must get a new system with every new thing, because it is an avenue of corruption. I mean, so I don't want to fault IEBC and say that they are engaging in corruption, but I think we need to interrogate these expenditure items and really ask hard questions.
I'm still not getting the answer to the issue of trust, because I think, and according to the IEBC chairperson, that is the biggest problem. That our election is too expensive because there's already a lot of mistrust in the process, and they're looking for ways to ensure that they can build confidence, and by that, they end up spending a lot more. For example, this time around, they're even using the eye biometrics to register voters, just to boost the level of confidence.
But then why, I mean, how much does it cost, and why should it be that expensive? I mean, this is the age of technology. I mean, Fred.
Technology is expensive as well.
It's expensive, yes, but technology is not as expensive as it was, a few years ago, with everything. I mean, the kind of phone, for example, that used to cost this amount of money, of course, it's cheaper now. I mean, with technology, with advancement in technology, I think the costs, and the DK should be able to advise us, because I think he's an IT expert. The costs are supposed to go down. But this is not the only country where, people have to make sure that an election is free and fair. So the issue of trust, and I like what you are saying, that money will not solve the problem of trust.
For example, Senator, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust the IEBC to deliver free and fair elections? A credible process.
Well, maybe which IEBC? You know, it depends.
This IEBC.
These IEBC. These IEBC, I have a lot of. I have very low. Trust ratio on them.
Why?
Because of the way they were nominated, and we have discussed this before. There were issues. I don't want to get back because we may not have time.
So even
to the commissioners, because these are root commissioners. So I may not have a lot of interest in it, but then my interest, I mean my trust in them, but my trust is in the system.
So the system has to be expensive for you to trust the process?
No. You know, the system doesn't have to be that IT system, that technological, that technology. The system, as in, for example, we have a system where the results of the election are determined at the polling station. So that regardless of what maybe the commissioners may want to do, but if I have my agents at the polling station, at least I trust that process, that I had agents at the polling station. I mean, they were there, they were present during voting. I also had agents as they were counting. At least I trust that part. But IEBC commissioners, the trust ratio may be low. But generally, we should not have a lot of worry about the whole election because it ends at the polling station.
Yet, listening to politicians, and he's one of them, but the other politicians...
And he is also one of them.
Yes, and the other